Hey ladies, we are live for day 2 of the Clarity Challenge, and we are talking about all things content. Let me give this a second to let you know that I am on, and I am going to pull up the group so that I can see you and chat with you, because sometimes I can see comments here and not see comments here, and then vice versa, and sometimes it's just a hot mess, and I just want to be sure that I can see it so that I can interact with you, because that is fun. Okay. I do want to let you know that Aubrey's not asleep. She's in the room crying. So I assume eventually she's going to come into the room once she figures out that she's allowed to get up. I tried to talk to her before I came in here, and of course she didn't respond, and then it turned into this like crying episode. So we will see what happens, but hopefully she will let us go live. She's usually pretty good about letting me go live and work, usually, but I can still hear her in the bedroom crying, so we shall see what happens. So yesterday I went live and talked about safety and talked about how important safety actually is versus mindset. And I believe that safety comes first before mindset, and that is what I talked about. Now, before I kind of dive into everything, in case you are new to me, I am Angela. I'm the founder of AsFreeAsYouSee. I'm a breakthrough coach and a healer of queens. I help women trauma thrivers create, operate, and scale the business of their dreams. You will see content in this group and everything that I put out around conquering childhood trauma, mastering your energy, creating self-trust, as well as creating consistency, clarity, certainty, and clients in your business. And a little bit about me is I've had a business for 5 years that failed, and then I started a new business, and this new business, I guess it's not very new, but this business has evolved and grown with me. And so I kind of did what I was supposed to do and fit into this perfect little box that I hated, and I wasn't making any money. I wasn't getting the clients that I wanted to. And then I shifted into a space that was very soul-led and very inspirational brand. And I finally stepped into my passion and my calling and helping women heal trauma. And that's what I did for the last 2 years. And then I just recently shifted into the space of helping women trauma thrivers start their dream businesses and really operate it and just love what they do. And I do that because I want women to know that they can be more than their history, that they're allowed to be more than their trauma. And so I've been able to create that in my life, and I want women to know that they can do the absolute same thing. And today we are actually going to talk about content. And I am super, super excited to talk about this content. Okay, give me just a drink. So I am excited to talk about content because a lot of people that I talk to, or a lot of women that I talk to, you know, there is a struggle around the strategy of content and what to post and whether or not you should post that and whether or not that's a good idea, right? And when there's a strategy involved, then there's overthinking, there's overwhelm, and then there's frustration, and then you feel defeated, and then you don't post. And then there are days where you have no idea what to post at all, and you have all the stress and all of this stuff going on in your mind to the point where you're just not showing up. It just feels completely useless and out of control, and you're so unsure of what to do, and it feels absolutely defeating. And then there's probably days where you really do show up and you have such a good time with your content and it's super engaging, and then you sabotage and then don't show up. And that's why I talked about safety yesterday, because safety is a huge building block to be able to show up the way that you truly desire. Because if you do not feel safe being seen and heard, you're not going to show up. That's just the reality of it. And even when you do show up, you're not going to show up in the capacity that you really can show up because you don't feel safe. And so in order to feel safe, you must reset and rewire your nervous system. And I do that with my clients. I do that with my one-to-one clients, and all of my programs that I create. Safety is a huge piece of these components before we ever dive into the meat of the material, if you will. So safety is huge because you will sabotage yourself if you do not feel safe being seen and heard and saying things that piss people off or are not necessarily, the easiest thing to say or are about your gifts, right? And that's really nerve-wracking sometimes. And the thing is that if you don't feel safe sharing those things or feel safe in your body, you are not going to share those things. You're not going to talk about those things. You're not going to even want to feel vulnerable, right? You're not going to want to tell the whole world what it is that you've been through to get to this point, right? Telling people that maybe you've been sexually abused, that you were in a narcissistic relationship, that you've survived domestic abuse. I mean, just whatever it is that you've survived and had to deal with and overcome. And now, you've been told that in order to build connection, it comes from vulnerability. And fuck no, are you going to be vulnerable with people that you don't even know? And most of the time, you're not even vulnerable with the people that you do know, right? There's this whole mixture of analyzation that goes on during this process. And I know because I used to be so scared to share my story. I used to be so scared to share my story with people that I actually knew that I avoided Facebook for a very long time. And I hid on Instagram trying to avoid people. And I didn't realize that there was a lot of shame going on and stuff like that I had to heal in order to start showing up that way. And that's why coming into safety is so critical. And once I finally let go of that shame, I finally came into a space where I felt like I could share my story. And when I started to share my story, then things started to really, really change for me. Now, the thing is that what about the strategy, right? What about this content that's supposed to be selling and making you buku bucks and doing all of these things that you see with coaches where, they're attracting these clients by their content and they're making thousands of dollars by this one piece of content and all of the things, right? All of the pretty shiny things that you would like to have. Where does that come from? And where does that come from? But also, how do you develop something like that? Now, what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to give you a little piece of the strategy, and then I'm going to tell you this one thing so that you can absolutely ditch the strategy, okay? Because the reality is that if the strategy is overwhelming, if the strategy is frustrating, if you're not aligned with the strategy, you're not going to do it. Okay. And the thing is with the strategy, if you don't stick with something for 90 days or more, then you really are looking for instant gratification, right? Sorry, I have a sniffle. So you really are looking for instant gratification in all of those things. The thing is that some strategies are going to take a little bit longer than normal. The thing is that you are not focused on likes and comments and all of the things. Yes, you want engagement. Yes, you want to connect with your audience. But the thing is that you do not post for vanity metrics, okay? You post to share your story. You post to let people know what it is that you do. If we're concerned about how many likes you're getting and how much love you're getting on these posts, then you really are posting for all the wrong reasons. And I know this because what I have found out is that just because somebody has a ton of likes and a ton of comments does not mean that they're like engaging comments, number one, but number two does not determine whether or not these people are making a ton of money. Okay. So let's just clear that out of the way. Just because people are getting likes and comments and hearts and all of these things does not equal money. I want to make that very clear. Just because someone has 1,000 hearts or whatever, 1,000 loves, I love this post, blah, 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 does not mean that people are actually buying. And I want you to be aware of that, because we totally think that. And I get caught up in it as well, that, so this person must be doing really well because, they have 500 views on this one reel or whatever. And we get caught up in that. I want you to try to let that go. And I say try to let it go because the comparison game is so easy to run, especially when you're just starting your business, and especially when you still are dealing with things like fear of rejection, trouble being seen and heard, and those types of things. Again, this is where the safety comes from and why it is so important to talk about. Yeah. Oh. Hey, Mike is going to be here in a few minutes. I need you to get the medicine from him. Okay. Thank you. No, but he's going to text me and let me know when he's here. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. We have a change of plans. Aubrey is staying here this weekend and not going with her dad, but she is going to be out of medicine if she stays with me. So I got to get his medicine and make sure it's here. Gotta love being a mom. So let's talk about some content that you can post to give you an idea of kind of what your goals can be if you really need to go at this at a very logical way. And I like these 3 posts that you can do, or these 3 categories of posts that you can do, because I have taken content courses before where they tell you the 5 types of content that you can post and how you're supposed to post them, right? And then you get caught up in I felt like I wanted to post this, but I'm supposed to be posting this engagement post, and now I can't post this because of X, Y, and Z, right? Those are the thoughts that go on. People think that those aren't the thoughts that are going on in your head, but it's totally the thoughts that are going on in your head. And then you prevent yourself from showing up because it's not the post that you should be posting. And so I don't want you to get caught up in that. And we're going to talk about that piece of it here in a minute. But the 3 types of posts that you want to necessarily focus on are posts that build your brand, posts that grow your following, and posts that sell or have a CTA is what I like to call it. Because the posts that have that sell or have a CTA could be about your freebie, could be to go to this other content, and it could be, of course, to buy something from you. So what each of them are the following. Okay, the ones to build your brand are the ones that show that you know your shit, okay? You know what you're talking about. You know that you're an expert, and you're building that know, like, and trust factor. That's what building your brand is all about. This piece of content is usually kind of long, usually about tips and tricks and juices to drink and why, etc., etc. They really build your authority and your expertise and show that you're a fucking boss, right? That's what it's about. The second one to grow your audience is going to be something like quotes, right? You see this on Instagram all the time. And you can do the same thing with Facebook. This is not just like Facebook and Instagram. The thing is, though, is that I don't want you to get caught up in thinking that you have to have pretty graphics. You do not. You can literally go copy and paste a quote that everybody loves from Google, put it in the sections where you write your headings or the captions or whatever you want to call them, and put a selfie attached to it and post it and let it go. You do not have to spend your time building pretty graphics, especially if that's not your thing and you've never done that before. Please, please, please do not waste your time doing all the things that you don't have to. You just don't. Pop a little selfie, put a little quote, put it on. Okay, Reels are also going to grow your audience. TikTok will also grow your audience. This is same thing. But quotes, things that people can just like real fast and kind of get to know you, that is going to be growing your audience. And I have noticed in my content and in content of clients that quotes and Reels seem to be the ones that are growing the audience the quickest and creating engagement the quickest, right? So you want to stay focused on that. The last thing, of course, is pretty self-explanatory. it is going to be a post that sells something. It's going to be a post that has a CTA at the end that says, if you want to ditch overwhelm and frustration, then join this course or join my one-to-one program, DM me or click the link below or whatever the case may be. And you're going to sell. And the best way to sell is to tell a story. Okay. Now I don't want to complicate this and I don't want to give you too much. And I'm just giving you a little bit about what we're actually going to dive into in my clarity rescue course that is actually going to launch, that I'm going to tell you about here in just a little bit. So, but those are the three main focuses that you can focus on. And in the clarity course that I'm going to talk about, we actually dive so deep into this stuff so that yes, you can have the fundamentals and the strategy. Okay. You want to know these things so that when you are posting based on inspiration and what feels good, they go together and you know what you're doing. But if this is confusing and this causes overthinking and frustration and overwhelm and you feel defeated and you're not going to post because you're overanalyzing every single word that you're putting out there and whether or not people are going to like it and whether or not this is pissing people off or what will people think, don't post based on strategy at all. Do not. Okay? Post based on inspiration. When you post based on inspiration versus strategy, you will show up. You'll show up because something will come into your mind and it will absolutely be this beautiful moment where you're like, the world has to hear this. I don't even care if anybody likes it, right? But I have to put this out into the world. And that's what you want to focus on. Not that you don't want to understand the fundamentals, not that you don't want to know what the hell that you're doing, but the thing is that the energy is behind the content, okay? The energy is behind the post. And when the energy is behind the post, people are going to gravitate to it. People are going to magnetize to it, okay? So you can post based on inspiration. Absolutely, 100%. I do this now. I've done this for years. And honestly, I prefer to do it. I prefer to do it this way because I am the type of person, I talked about this yesterday. I'm the type of person that I get caught up in the strategy. I get caught up in the overthinking and overanalyzing every single word. And is this word going to entice people to buy my program? And I'm just like, I can't do this. Okay. I just can't. And my engagement and my growth and the comments and things like that are so much better when I post based on inspiration. I also show up way more consistently when I post based on inspiration and energy and what I'm feeling rather than following this specific strategy. Okay. And so if you can do this latter part, then focus on that. Okay. If you're a strategy person, then by all means, follow the strategy and do that. But you do want to make sure that your energy is always behind these posts. You do want to feel good about what it is that you're talking about. You do want to be authentic. You do want to believe in what it is that you're saying. Otherwise, it's going to fall flat on its face. Even if it is strategy, even if it is inspiration. I don't know how it can be inspiration that way, but even if it is, you want to believe what it is that you're saying and you want to be authentic. If you're not authentic with what it is that you're saying, I swear to you, people find out. It's the craziest thing I've ever witnessed. I always try to be very open and honest. Sometimes I feel like I overshare. And so, I don't have to worry about being found out or anything like that, right? So you want to make sure that you're always authentic and true to yourself. And sometimes that means that you're not going to share as much as you would with a best friend. Sometimes you're not going to you're not going to share certain things. And that's completely okay. It doesn't change anything. Hey, Brittany, how are you? I'm glad you were able to make it on. So, hey, April, how are you? So you want to make sure that if you are an overthinker, and you overanalyze everything and it stops you from showing up, then ditch the strategy, okay? You don't post on strategy any more, okay? You're going to post on inspiration. You're going to post on what feels good. You're going to post on what is in your heart, okay? And people, your audience, are going to know that this is in your heart. But here's the thing though. If you don't feel safe, you're not going to post based on inspiration. You will force yourself to fit in this strategy because you don't want people to know this part of you. And this is why I talked about the strategy piece of it yesterday. This is why, the safety piece of it yesterday, right? Because it's a building block to be able to show people your heart. If you don't feel safe, you're going to stick to that strategy no matter how much you hate it, no matter how much it's aligned for you, no matter how much resistance that you have. And then what's going to happen is the energy behind the strategy is eventually going to run out. You're going to hate it. You're not going to show up. And then you're just going to be like, what is the point of this? And you'll quit. You'll totally quit on your business. And I know because I've done that. And I haven't fully quit on my business, but you stop showing up. You stop doing all of the things, right? And I don't want that for you at all. April says exactly. Brittany says preach. Trying to. But I want you to be aware of why the safety is so important and is key to the inspiration. Now, again, if you're a strategy person, you can make this work for you. This is why I talked about the three categories of content that you can post based off of if you want to do it based on inspiration. And so the first one is to build your audience. The second one is, to build your brand. The second one is to grow your audience. And the third one is to sell or to have a CTA. And again, I'm going to go over these so you can know how to mesh them together. So the first one is to build your brand. And again, this is to prove that you're an authority figure. Okay. What does that mean? That you know what you're talking about. All right. That you know your shit, that you've been educated, that you've been through whatever it is that you're teaching people to go through or to help them through the other side or transform. You know, you've been there, you've done that, right? So that is how you're going to build your brand. And you can do that based on inspiration. You can be like, you know what? Today I'm building my brand. I'm going to show everybody that I am the transformation queen. And this is what's going to happen. Boom, post. And there it is. The second one that you can do is to grow your audience. Okay. And this is like, you see these all the time, especially on Instagram and stuff like that. And this is quotes, right? Quotes, reels, things that is going to get a bigger reach out to people, that is going to magnetize people into your profile, right? Into your profile. And I say quotes, and I'm going to tell you again, you absolutely do not have to make pretty graphics for your quotes. I swear to you, I have seen people, and I do the same thing sometimes. I swear to you, you can go and Google, copy and paste some quote that everybody loves, stick it on your captions and put your pretty selfie on there and call it a day. You do not have to go create and spend time trying to create some pretty graphics because someone told you that you needed to have pretty graphics to grow your audience. That's the biggest load of BS I've ever heard before in my life. You do not need to have these beautiful graphics to grow your audience, because the truth is that your audience cares about the value that is being delivered to them. Okay. So you don't have to do all the things. You just have to show up and be you. So that's how you can grow your audience. The last thing is to sell to your audience. Okay. As much as you love your audience, as much as you love to connect with your audience and love on them and cheer them on, and not that we're trying to manipulate people or anything like that, but the end game is to continue for you to be supported. And that means you must sell. And so there's going to be content that sells. And this is where you, at the end of your beautiful post, you're going to say, you're going to have a CTA, which is a call to action, just in case you didn't know. I don't want to pretend that you know, but I also don't want to, I don't want to miss that because I didn't know what that was for a long time. So I've got to tell people. So anyway, the CTA is going to say, if you want to feel confident and show up consistently and make more money, then click this link and join my course and become confident AF at selling and blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's what a CTA is. It's where you are inviting them to do something after your post. That's essentially what it is. So it could be a freebie, it could be a call, it could be a course, it could be a one-to-one program. It's whatever you have going on. Okay, there is no box that you're gonna fit that CTA in. It doesn't matter. But that's what you can do. Those are the content categories that you can pick and choose from to build inspiration off of. So you kind of know what you're doing, but it's not in such a box that if you don't run the strategy accordingly, that it's going to fail and you're going to feel completely defeated. And you can do that. And those three content categories that I gave you are a part of the clarity rescue that I'm about to tell you about probably here soon. But anyway, I wanted to give you this piece, but I also want you to know that you don't have to do any of that, okay? You do not. All of the content that comes through my personal page, it's all inspired content, okay? And don't get me wrong, there are times, okay? There are times where I get caught up in the strategy and try to force myself into this strategy that I fucking hate. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? Oh yeah, because I think that I've hit this certain level of success and now I have to follow these things. And it always ends up backfiring, okay? It always ends up backfiring. At least for me, it always has. And it's just because there are some days where I want to say 3 words to my audience. And then there are some days where I'm like, I'm going to pour into you because this is what's going on, right? Sometimes I don't have the energy to give someone a 30-page, content or whatever. And some days I'm just going off on the content, right? And so I've just decided that this is what works for me. And so I want you to be aware that you do not have to fit in some stupid box because someone said that this is what works for them, and so it has to work for you. Okay, again, not that coaches are telling you anything wrong, not that coaches are the way to their success has been wrong. Absolutely not. Obviously it's worked for them. Otherwise they wouldn't be telling you that they're successful, etc., 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 right? The thing is that it may not work for you. Their success blueprint is not the way. It's a way that has worked for them. And so you want to be very comfortable with the fact that a lot of this is very much an experiment, okay? And what does that mean? Well, if you ever took science class as a kid, you know that some experiments are going to go really well and some of them are going to fall flat on their face. And this is where the safety piece comes into play, because you want to feel safe making mistakes in front of essentially millions of people, right? Essentially, that's the reach. So you want to be aware of that. And you want to be aware, sorry, Facebook just sent me a message. You want to be aware of these things. Fucking Facebook. You want to be aware of these things so that you don't get caught up in what everybody else is telling you. You want to learn the foundations and apply them to your inspiration so you know what the hell that you're doing, right? There is some strategy, there are some pieces to it, but the truth is that people are magnetized to the right energy. And this is why safety is important. This is why your energy is important. Your energy is important because essentially your audience wants to be in your energy. They want to have the energy that you've been able to create from the transformation of what you've been able to overcome. That's what they're after. They're not after your content. They don't give a shit about your content. They care how it makes them feel and whether or not they can actually have that in their lives. Okay, now I'm getting messages, all kinds of crazy messages. April says, this is so on point tonight. Cool, I'm glad to hear this. Okay. So you want to be aware of these things. Please be aware of these things. Okay, your audience is buying your result. They're buying your energy. They're buying the transformation that you can create for them. But the thing is that if you don't believe in what it is that you do, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have any confidence, they're gonna fucking know, okay? They're gonna know. And they're gonna know because you're afraid of being seen and heard, right? If you're afraid of being seen and heard, you're not safe. And then you're not gonna show up. And then when you do show up, it's gonna be like you're this big and you maybe didn't want to piss anybody off. So you're gonna be a good little girl and not rock the boat. And that's how these things work. And that's how you just kind of trickle in to staying in the strategy or having to follow this blueprint of success, okay? And I believe that these people have a blueprint of success. I absolutely do. I've worked with coaches, of course they do. But I've also realized that if they try to tell you to do things that you absolutely hate, number one, you're not going to do it. Number two, you're going to be in resistance to it. And number three, there's not going to be any energy there for you. Okay. And let me give you an example. Okay. Everybody tells you to do sales calls. Everybody's like, do the sales call, when offer these 15-minute, 30-minute sales calls. Okay. And I did for a very long time. I did with, my last group of women that I worked with that I absolutely adored when I was helping them heal trauma. And I would get on these calls, and of course I'd be nervous. I had only done like, 10 of them or whatever. And I would get some of them, but not all of them. But then what I started to realize is that no matter what or how I worded them, people were thinking that they were going to get free coaching in this 30 minutes, free coaching on trauma in 30 minutes, okay? Which, number one, is highly against my integrity. But number two, you can't get coaching for trauma in 30 minutes, okay? It's just impossible, because especially if you've never talked to this person, you've never seen them live. And so it was getting to the point where I could feel that these people were so disappointed with the fact that they were not getting free coaching. And of course, then it makes I feel sleazy and feel icky. And I'm like, well, I can't do that right here. It's not going to work. And so I put it to the side and I stopped doing it. Okay. And the second that I stopped doing it, I started having clients reach out to me and say, hey, I want to work with you. I want to do, I want your program. I want the thing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I'm done doing sales calls. And then I started working with a coach, and she was like, do the sales calls, do it exactly how this is. And I had promised myself that I had given up. I'm not that I've given them up, but I'm not doing them anymore. I don't like them. I'm not aligned with them. They never feel good, whatever. Even when I follow the structure, right? Because there's a structure to sales that you're supposed to follow. And I did it, okay? Because the coach told me to do it, and that's what I did. And I wanted to follow the program because I didn't want to remove anything from the program, right? So I did. I followed the strategy and did exactly what she told me. And the clarity calls that they were called were the exact same. And I fucking hated every second of it. And I knew that they weren't right for me. But yet I went and spent all of this time scheduling with people and making sure that they were in my calendar. And then I talked to them for 30 to 45 minutes, burning all my time, not making a single sale. And then the second I decided I was done with them, boom, the money just started pouring in. And I was just like, what is this? What is this? So when you know that something is not right for you, even if it's the things that I say, you're like, nope, I'm not aligned with that. That doesn't work with me or work for me, then don't do it. Okay. Don't do it. Do not force yourself to fit into this box because someone told you that this is what worked for them. And you're sitting here saying this is not working. You're like, I'm overthinking this. I don't want to put this on this post and say this weird shit. Doesn't even sound like me. Don't do it. Okay. Don't do it. Do not follow somebody else's blueprint of success because they said that it's going to work. And you're sitting here like, I'm not aligned with that. Okay. Now, there is a huge difference, okay? I need you to hear me out on this. There is a huge difference between not being aligned with something, okay, and having fear of doing something and being scared because it's outside of your comfort zone. You need to be aware of that, okay? You know when it's not aligned for you, when you've done it a couple of times. And I say a couple of times, I'm anywhere between 5 to 10 times, okay? If you've done it 5 to 10 times, you hate it and you can't stand it and it feels icky and it's not aligned with you, stop doing it. Okay. And I say 5 to 10 times because the first couple of times, no matter what it is, especially if it's something you've never done, you're going to suck at it. Okay, that's just the reality of it. I know people don't want to hear that, okay, because we think that we're going to show up and be perfect at something the first time around, even though we've never done it. That's such a load of BS. I don't know what in our heads makes us think that we're going to show up and do something perfectly the first time that we've never done before. It's so crazy. And I know, because that's what I would think. Like the first time I ever went live, I was like, this is going to be the best live ever. And da-da-da-da-da. And I was live for like 10 minutes and I was like, oh my God, that was the scariest thing I've ever done. And nobody showed up. And I don't even remember what I talked about. It was so long ago. But anyway, the first 3-4 times, it's gonna suck, okay? So, but right about the 5th time and beyond, you're gonna start to get comfortable. You're gonna start to find your voice. You're gonna start to find your groove, right? And so that's when it's okay to decide whether or not it's aligned with you, okay? So I no way am trying to keep you in your comfort zone, but I am telling you that if something is not aligned with you, don't do it, okay? If you don't want to do oh, hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Mom. Oh, shit. Oh, she must be waiting for my... Okay, I'm sorry. Aubrey's dad just called and I'm trying to get her medicine from him and all kinds of crazy stuff. My mom's supposed to be out there. I hope he found her. Okay. Because of course he would come right in the middle of the live, even though he's not supposed to be. Oh my God. Of course. We'll just leave that there. He was supposed to pick up Aubrey, and he picked up overtime, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not like mad that he picked up overtime, but I wasn't anticipating having her. And so she's about to be out of medicine. And when I tried to renew the medicine last week, it was too soon. And so now I was like, all right, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to have her. And so now I'm going to have her, and now I'm going to be out of her medicine. And so now I'm trying to get the medicine from him. And of course it's right in the middle of this, which is weird because, you know, that's not regular for him. Anyway, so hopefully my mom found the medicine. So I want you to be very safe. That's why I talked about this yesterday, to do your own thing and allow your success to be an experiment, because it really is. It really is. And the more you're able to tap in, the more that you're able to connect with yourself and feel safe with, oh my gosh, feel safe with what it is that you're doing, the more and more you're going to be okay with experimenting, the more and more your content is going to be fire. People are going to love it. People are going to work with you. They're going to be attracted to you and, message you and be like, hey, I want to work with you, while you're napping, while you're swimming, while you're doing all of the above. Clients that pay in full, clients that say they want a payment plan, but they end up paying the whole thing in 2 payments, clients that tip you, okay, all of that is all 100% possible, and you can absolutely have it. The thing is that you must learn who you are. You must learn who you are. You must feel safe. You must be willing to make mistakes in front of people. You must be willing to be vulnerable and connect with people. And you also have to be willing to, guess what? Sell, right? Because if you're not selling, if you are not showing up and selling, what is it that you're doing, right? If you are not selling, what is it that you're doing? And this was the critical piece that I resisted for a very long time, okay? I would do all of the content things. I would do all of the pretty graphics and the website and everything else, but I was avoiding the selling piece of it. And it's because I was scared to death, okay? I was scared to death because I didn't want to be rejected and I didn't want to be seen and heard, and so I was scared of it. I was absolutely scared of it. Now I don't give a shit. And I don't mean it like that, but I'm going to show up. It doesn't matter to me if no one buys, it matters to me if people, but I'm going to keep posting it, right? Whether or not people are buying or whatever, I'm going to continue to sell. I really felt that. What am I selling? So, right. Well, exactly. Number one, you got to figure that out. But number two, what the hell are you doing if you're not selling? Okay. You've got to figure that out. You've got to figure that out because there's something else underlying going on if you're not selling in your business. If you're even influencers, okay, people on Instagram that are considered creators and stuff like that, they're making money somehow. Okay. Whether it's through brand sponsorship or, affiliate marketing, influencers are making money. Okay. Influencers are making buku bucks. Okay. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Kim Kardashian literally makes millions of dollars with brand sponsorships, okay? Millions of dollars for having her photo up in some magazine or some fucking internet site. Millions of dollars, okay? She sells almost every single day, okay? I assume she does. I don't follow her. Okay, I'm not a fan of that kind of influence, okay? I think that their mom and all of those girls, I think they're brilliant. And I feel like their marketing is brilliant and all of the above. I just don't support that kind of stuff. That's just not what I'm into. But they're brilliant, okay? And I'm not mad at them for making money for doing whatever it is that they do, okay? I'm not mad. So you've got to figure out what the hell it is that you're doing if you're not selling. Because if you're trying to avoid selling, man, if you're trying to avoid selling, you're going to have one of the most time-consuming hobbies ever, okay? Ever. And you've got to figure that out. You have to be willing to sell. And your content is going to be what sells. You know what else sells? Your energy, okay? That's where the safety piece comes from that I keep talking about. You want to figure this stuff out. You want to post based on inspiration. If you are an overthinker of the strategy, you really are. You really want to do this rather than this, okay? And it's going to be scary. It's going to be scary to post based on inspiration and just put it out there. The best way to post based on inspiration is when this thought immediately comes into your mind, you're going to all the way out, put a selfie to it and post it and don't look back. Okay. If you are an overanalyzer, I don't even recommend going through to edit your content, right? Because, you're going to edit it to make sure you spell certain things or you catch words and stuff like that. But if you are an overanalyzer of all the things, you don't even think twice about the selfie. This works, put it up there, boom, done, right? And the thing is that part of the safety is going to be within this practice, okay? When you first post like this, you're not going to feel very good about it at all. You're going to have what I like to call the vulnerability hangover, right? And I call vulnerability because when you're posting based on inspiration, it is very vulnerable to post it. And the vulnerability hangover is where you're like, oh my God, should I have posted that? What will so-and-so think? What will my mom think? What will that person say? What if someone thinks that I'm X, Y, and Z, or that I'm too confident, or I'm boasting, or I'm doing all these things, or I'm a fraud, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You totally go into the vulnerability hangover. It's totally normal. And what happens is you build the capacity to be very comfortable with how you're feeling at the time. And then you soon learn that it's okay to feel like this, that really you're still safe even though you feel like this. And if you didn't see yesterday's part of the challenge, make sure that you go back and check out yesterday's part of the challenge, because I do dive in about safety and why it's so important, because it is important. And if you are struggling with these things and you're tired of struggling with them, the overwhelm and the frustration and the inconsistency and always questioning yourself and never being able to tap into your soul, I invite you to come on the journey with me to my Clarity Rescue, which is 8 weeks long. It's going to be a live course that is going to be just like this. You'll receive journal prompts and meditations specific to each week. And before we ever get into content, niche, industry, we are going over safety, mindset, and energy so that you have this piece of it that is missing in like everybody's programs, right? They want you to just have this piece of it without addressing this piece. And you must address this piece before you can dive into this piece. You absolutely do. And so I've combined all of it together so that you can actually feel safe diving into your soul, doing things that excite you, writing content based on inspiration, and selling things, actually showing up and selling and loving it. So this is what I'm going to give to you in this Clarity Rescue. You have the option to just do the course just as it is. You get it live and then you get lifetime access. Or you can do the option where you get the course, the lifetime access, but you get an additional 10 weeks of group coaching. And so you'll have coaching twice a week. And right now I'm doing only for the weekend, only a special price. So it will be just for the course, it's going to be $197. And for the course and the group coaching option, the VIP option, it's $597. So if you feel like you're aligned with this, it's calling to you, I highly recommend that you join me and this Clarity Rescue and everybody else that is going to join. The price of it's only going to stay this way for the weekend. So as of the 9th, the price of it will be gone. It will go up. The regular part of it, or I call the Thriver option, it will be $397, and then the VIP option will be $897. So if you're on a bit of a budget and you really want to get into this, now is the time. So this is what it will be like. Let me pull this up so I can tell you exactly what you're going to get out of it, okay? So I'm going to read these off to you because I don't remember all of the things, okay? So you're going to learn how to create safety as a trauma thriver so you can show up online confident. You're going to have tools to break through seemingly never-ending limiting beliefs, how to discover who you are so you can connect with your audience at a soul level, how to create sustainable energy for your unique gifts so you can create clients, cash, and the life of your dreams. You're going to truly figure out who your soulmate clients are without trying to figure out what it is that they eat and whether or not they drive a black Honda, because all of that's bullshit. You're going to figure out what lights you up and excites you so you can create offers from that space instead of this is what's going to make me money, because that never ends up working. And you're also going to learn how to create content that you absolutely love that will work for you no matter where you are at in your business. So you're going to get 8 weeks of live training. You're going to then get 8 meditations and 8 sets of powerful journal prompts. And that is just with the Thriver option, and you get lifetime access. Also, if you pay in full, payment plans will be available here in the next couple of days. But if you pay in full, you will also get 3 additional courses. You will get the meditation starter pack, and you will get the healing money stories and the 5 days of stepping into your soul for paying in full. And so then you also have the VIP bonus options, which is you get everything that I just talked about, plus 10 weeks of group coaching. But if you pay in full, you also get a social media audit and 60 minutes of one-to-one time with me. So you get one 60-minute session with me in addition to everything else that I just listed as a pay in full bonus. And again, you can get the VIP option for $597 this weekend only, or you can do the Thriver option at $197 this weekend only. So this is what we have going on. I am so excited to do this. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how excited I am to do this. I believe in my results. I believe in the results that you'll get out of this. It will absolutely be phenomenal. Everyone that will join will have these amazing questions. So not only will it help you with your process, but you'll also get personalized coaching in addition to whatever questions everybody else asks. And it totally helps you just build on this coaching and build your business in this way. And I'm so excited to do this. I've never done like a hybrid option like this before. I am so excited, and I hope that this is aligned for you, and I invite you to come along on this 8-week journey so that you can start thriving in your business and do what feels good and what's soul aligned, so that you can absolutely have the business of your dreams and have the life of your dreams, so that you can create freedom, so that you are creating cash and clients and making an impact on top of that. That's what this is all about. Of course, it's about the money, of course, right? I'm not going to act like it's not. But essentially, the money creates the freedom. The money creates the safety. The money creates the experiences and the memories that you're trying to create. And you want to do this doing what it is that you love, instead of being forced into this box or doing something that you absolutely hate. And this is how you do that. This is how you create the life of your dreams that you truly want. And this is how, of course, you create the business of your dreams, by doing it soul-led instead of fitting into this box that doesn't necessarily work for you. Okay. Do we have any questions? I want to go back and make sure that I didn't miss anything. April says, I need that for real. Good. I'm glad, because I feel like this was perfect timing. You guys want to hear a story? Okay. This is so funny. We have a few minutes, so I want to tell you a story. So I had thought about this, and it works so perfect with what we were talking about. When I figured this out, or this idea came to me, and it just started to pour in, just an explosion of ideas. And I journal everything. Okay. I write everything. So I was writing and writing and writing. And then I was like, okay, when should I do this? And I was going to do it like 2 weeks. And I was like, because I want people to do this and I want people to do that. And I'm trying to make it work, because you're supposed to technically launch within 90 days and blah, blah, blah. And I've never actually have ever really launched anything like within 90 days. I've never really done that. But I was trying to make it so that I could build up my audience and do all the things. And then I was like asking myself, is this really what I want? Is this really soul aligned to wait this long? And the first thing that said was, no, it's not. You're doing this out of fear. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm changing this now. So I bumped it up and did all the things. And so I just feel like it was perfect how we're talking about doing the things that light you up and follow your soul, based on doing things based on a box and fear and all of the things. And this is how fear takes over without realizing that it's actually fear, right? Because we try to fit ourselves into somebody else's box because we don't necessarily trust ourselves or believe that how we're doing things is actually going to work. And I am telling you, when you believe in yourself and when you do things from a soul-aligned place, it works. It absolutely does work. Do we have any questions before I hop off? I want to make sure I answer all of your questions. This was so much fun. I appreciate all of you that jumped on here and joined me live. I appreciate it. I know that you could be spending your time doing something else, especially when we're at like an hour long. So I really, truly appreciate you showing up. I have so much love for you and so much gratitude for you. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you all later. I'll see you in the group for sure. If you have any questions about anything in the course or anything that I just offered, please feel free to message me. If you can't reach me through message me, if you can't reach me through Messenger, you can always tag me in the group with any questions that you have. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here for you. But I hope that you all have a great weekend. If you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay. If you have questions during the replay, please leave them. I will always get back to you. And I hope that you have a great weekend and day. See you later.